And hello, friend. A very warm and cordial welcome to this very special Oasis Labor Association compliance training. My name is Harold Zapata. It's an honor to come here to you live from our offices in Irving, Texas, just next door to Dallas, Texas. Welcome to this very special and important webinar presentation. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of very key understandings. First of all, what is an actual labor organization? How does a labor organization, as Oasis Labor Association, work in a right-to-work state? A very important point. What is an ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plan? What is the difference between ERISA benefits and the regular type of insurance that is sold out there in the marketplace? How are we able to offer ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plans such as healthcare and retirement plans, and also specifically workers' compensation? We'll talk about what the federal law says about that. And regarding federal law, what is federal preemption versus the state? Very important points that we'll be talking about today. So I believe, and I subscribe to the theory, the best way of teaching is being able to teach people, just telling them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So in the next 30 minutes or so, a little bit more than 30 minutes, we'll be showing you some videos. We'll be sharing with you some important tidbits of information. I believe it's going to be of a great blessing to you. So without any further ado, first we're going to show you a short 2 minutes or video that will lead us into what we're going to tell you. And then right after that video, we will tell you. So without any further ado, please take a look at this video.
Traditionally, there were only two ways of obtaining workers' compensation coverage: either through the purchase of costly insurance through a state fund or private insurance company, or through self-insurance if your company was large enough. But now, there's a third way of securing the workers' compensation coverage a company needs, at substantially below market rate costs, when a non-profit labor organization and an employer together, pursuant to a bona fide collective bargaining agreement, provide its member employees ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plans. Then, to what the public seems like insurance, to the members it is a legal and rightful benefit, protected by federal ERISA provisions that preempt any state's involvement or regulation. Like the difference between a bank and a credit union. They both look similar as they both offer checking accounts, savings accounts, and loans. But only one is a nonprofit tax-exempt 501c1 membership-based organization, the credit union. So with us, we are Oasis Labor Association, a DBA of Firestone Labor Union, a tax-exempt 501c5 national labor organization, registered with the Department of Labor as an entity claiming exception, or ECE, as per ERISA Code 340A1. Oasis Labor Association does not sell insurance to the public, but pursuant to a collective bargaining agreement, we promote together with the employer federally protected benefits to our membership base. Oasis exists to replenish the employee-employer relationship by promoting the right to work and the free flow of capital and labor. As we represent our members in terms of hours, wages, and working conditions, we aim at improving the labor relation through strong communication and nipping grievances in the bud that could potentially save you a costly lawsuit down the road. As we represent them in terms of benefits such as workers' compensation, healthcare, and retirement, we guarantee a better and more robust benefit coverage at guaranteed below market rates. Your employees are hoping for better benefits and better working conditions you can all agree to, and we can help with both. Let us show you how. Oasis Labor Association, replenishing the employee-employer relationship.
And welcome again, dear friend. I hope that this short video was able to begin to whet your appetite in terms of what we're going to actually study together right now. Yes, something happens when an employer, together with a labor organization, under a collective bargaining agreement, are able to sponsor employee welfare benefit plans. Something happens when ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plans are done exclusively to the members of the labor organization, who happen to be also the employees of the employer. When they take care of benefits such as we can read here on the screen, health care for medical, surgical, and hospital care. Benefits in terms of sickness or accidents, whether on or off the job, and that opens that door for workers' compensation. And as we'll see a little bit later on in the next video, provided that workers' compensation is not presented exclusively or solely, that's the operative word, solely, just to comply with the local or statewide workers' compensation laws, but rather it's offered as a more robust coverage, and we'll talk about that. But number two, also if it's part of a multi-benefit menu plan, then to what the public seems to be insurance to the member of the labor organization is a federally protected employee welfare benefit plan. And in fact, federal law, and we can read this last sentence here, in these cases preempts any state involvement or regulation in the union employer-sponsored offering of the benefit. So we're going to go into it a little bit more deeper right now. We're going to actually sit down and watch a 13 or so minute video that will go into detail, have a lot of understanding of the law, case law, studies, examples, things of that nature. And then we'll come back and then we'll tell you again what the video says in a way that I hope we'll all understand. So please take a look at this following video.
Having workers' compensation coverage is an integral part of every employer's best business practices. Whether in mandatory states or in opt-out states like Texas and Oklahoma, business owners across the United States desire to limit their employees' experience with work-related injuries or illnesses in the pursuit of the free flow of capital and labor. That's why having workers' compensation coverage, whether through regular insurance, self-insurance, or through participation in a multi-employer group pursuant to a collective bargaining agreement, is the wise, legal, and ethical thing to do. It used to be traditionally that in order to obtain such workers' compensation coverage, a business owner had to go through an insurance company or state fund, so that the transfer of the risk of loss was passed from the policyholder to the risk-bearing insurer. Larger companies were also afforded the opportunity to self-insure. But who wants to hold 100% of the risk of loss? But soon after the Employee Retirement Security Act, also known as ERISA, became the federal law of the land in 1974, did you know that there's another way of securing the workers' compensation coverage a company needs at below market rate costs from expensive insurance premiums so an employer can actually afford it, and without assuming all the risk of loss? In fact, this option is so unique and so legal that it's making many heads turn and others spin. And yet the legal formula is not that hard to understand. When a labor organization and an employer together, pursuant to a bona fide collective bargaining agreement, establish, offer, and maintain an ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plan for the purpose of exclusively providing to its union members and their beneficiaries such benefits as health care for medical, surgical, and hospital care, or benefits in the event of sickness or accidents, whether on or off the job, as is in the case of workers' compensation, and provided that such workers' compensation benefit is not established and maintained solely for the purpose of complying with applicable workers' compensation laws, but rather jointly offered as a more robust coverage as part of a multi-benefit plan menu, then that workers' compensation coverage, while not an insurance product offered to the public, becomes a federally protected and rightful employee benefit to the union member. In fact, federal law in these cases preempts any state involvement in the union employer-sponsored offering of such benefit. Let's break this down. When a labor organization and an employer together, the legal tax-exempt structure of a labor organization is approved by the Department of Treasury under the Internal Revenue Code 501c5. Also known as labor unions, these organizations are composed of workers who come together to maintain and grow their interests in hours, wages, working conditions, and benefits. The Department of Labor determines that a labor union includes any organization of any kind, any agency or employee representation committee, group, association, or plan so engaged in which employees participate and which exists for the purpose, in whole or in part, of dealing with employers concerning grievances, labor disputes, wages, rates of pay, hours, or other terms or conditions of employment. Oasis Labor Association is elected by a majority of employees at a company through election cards in order to represent them in terms of hours, wages, working conditions, grievances, and benefits. Then, Oasis Labor bargains collectively with the employer on their behalf and produces the Collective Bargaining Agreement, or CBA. Once executed, the CBA is archived in Washington, D.C. with the Department of Labor. Pursuant to a bona fide collective bargaining agreement, establish, offer, and maintain. This document is a promise employers make to employees regarding hours, wages, working conditions, grievances, and benefits. In order to foster, promote, and maintain the conditions and provisions in the CBA, a single stewardship system trust is organized to hire and compensate full-time, multi-company stewards responsible for investigating and settling grievances and claims, to represent employees and to promote the betterment of their working conditions and strengthen the employer-employee relation. Oasis Labor Association, as a DBA of Firestone Labor Union, is an entity claiming exception, or ECE. Pursuant to agreements that the Secretary of Labor finds to be collective bargaining agreements within the meaning of Section 340A1 of ERISA. An ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plan for the purpose of exclusively providing to its union members and their beneficiaries such benefits as health care for medical, surgical, and hospital care, or benefits in the event of sickness or accident, whether on or off the job, as is in the case of workers' compensation. After representing employees in terms of hours, wages, and working conditions, now we talk about benefits. Oasis Labor Association, as a DBA of Firestone Labor Union, does not sell insurance products, but rather jointly promotes with the multi-employer group for the benefit of our union members and their families such welfare benefits that are federally recognized through ERISA. Think of the difference between a bank and a 501c1, also known as a credit union. They seem much alike. They both offer checking and savings accounts. They offer car and refi loans and have other similarities. But the difference legally is clear. One is for-profit, the other is a member-based nonprofit entity. 501c1, 501c5. One is a credit union. The other is a labor union. A membership base makes the union, much like a 501c3, also known as a church or charitable organization, is made up of members. These three are nonprofit, membership-based organizations sanctioned by the Department of Treasury. Oasis Labor Association promotes healthcare, retirement plans, and workers' compensation benefits exclusively to its union members because federal law allows them to do so under ERISA's ECE provisions, much like a credit union offers loans to its members. It may look like insurance. After all, healthcare and workers' compensation are insurance products sold to the public by insurance companies and licensed agents. But when in the context of a labor union, and pursuant to a bona fide collective bargaining agreement, what to the public is insurance. To union members, these are self-funded, union employer-sponsored, employee welfare benefits that need not an insurance company to sell, nor a state's Department of Insurance to sanction because they are federally regulated. And provided that such workers' compensation benefit is not established and maintained solely for the purpose of complying with applicable workers' compensation laws, but rather jointly offered as a more robust coverage as part of a multi-benefit plan menu, then that workers' compensation coverage, while not an insurance product offered to the public, becomes a federally protected and rightful employee benefit. In fact, federal law in these cases preempts any state involvement in the union employer-sponsored offering of such benefit. Retirement plans and health care are well-known ERISA-based benefits. But what does the statute of the law say about workers' compensation? It is clear. ERISA does not apply to any benefit plan if such a plan is maintained solely for the purpose of complying with applicable workers' compensation laws or unemployment compensation or disability insurance laws. A lot is contained in the word solely. Merriam-Webster's dictionary states that solely means without another and to the exclusion of all else. That is, ERISA excludes any standalone benefit plan that covers employees for workplace injuries or illnesses if such a plan is union employer maintained without establishing, offering, and maintaining simultaneously other ERISA-governed benefits such as health care or retirement as part of a multi-benefit plan, meaning if such alternative plan is established just for complying with local workers' compensation or disability laws, then it would be entirely excluded from being an ERISA-governed plan. For example, in 1983, the Supreme Court's decision with respect to disability benefits provided under a multi-benefit plan structure. The court concluded that because the plans were not created solely to comply with the state of New York's disability benefits law, they were not excluded from being ERISA-governed plans. So, if an employee welfare benefit plan is not clearly and exactly excluded from ERISA, then any state law relating to the plan is preempted. The phrase, solely for complying with applicable workmen's compensation laws, does not clearly nor exactly exclude coverage for workplace injuries or illnesses from ERISA, and therefore, as per ERISA Section 514A's preemption clause voted by Congress, federal law shall supersede any and all state laws insofar as they may now or hereafter relate to any employee benefit plan. Additionally, when state laws meet a self-funded employee welfare benefit plan, the Supreme Court construed the Deemer Clause, which essentially limits state insurance laws from operating on union employer self-funded benefit plans. That is why many states have carve-out programs that allow union employer groups to carve out their own alternatives for workers' compensation insurance when presented as a benefit to employee members of the union under a collective bargaining agreement as a self-funded benefit plan. Affirmative workers' compensation benefit is a more robust workplace injury or illness employee benefit coverage because additionally to the state's minimum payout requirement, we offer free yearly employee physicals, free employee immunizations, free employee safety and awareness training through printed materials, and a $4,000 funeral expense benefit if the death occurs as a result of a work-related accident or illness. So, just as in a bank you are a customer, but with a credit union you are a member, so with an insurance company you are a customer, but with us, workers are members with voice and dignity. Employers everywhere appreciate our claims management procedures that verify the validity of claims and ensure employees' injuries and illnesses are handled quickly and effectively, and our fabulous return-to-work programs that help the company from losing time and money by helping to expedite employees' return to work. Add to that the fact that affirmative workers' compensation is always presented in each collective bargaining agreement alongside ALA Trust, the union's retirement plan that has the lowest contribution nationwide at only $25 per month. And Avanto Healthcare, the union's healthcare benefit plan that provides the most competitive price national healthcare coverage with a network of 1 million doctors, 5,000 hospitals, 90,000 ancillary facilities, 70,000 pharmacies throughout the U.S. and Puerto Rico, and 24/7 live doctor consultation is just one phone call or Skype video conferencing away. Workers also enjoy non-ERISA benefits such as a family counseling benefit, road rage counseling benefit, credit counseling, and a funeral expense benefit that can also cover loved ones in Mexico, internationally, and a lot more. For more information on all that goes into the collective bargaining agreement, please refer to the next video on this website. We welcome all workers in all industries to join Oasis Labor Association and begin to enjoy the affirmative workplace coverage and other benefits that membership in our union can provide for you and your family, including also significant discounts on dining, cinemas, travel, vacations, and a lot more. For more information, visit oasislaborassociation.org and affirmativewc.com. Affirmative Workers' Compensation Benefit. Offered exclusively by Oasis Labor Association. Winning together.
And welcome back, dear friend. The video you just finished watching, we're going to separate it in 4 different compartments or chunks. The first one is going to be when a labor organization and an employer together. Let's talk about that. What is a labor organization? A labor organization basically is something that the Department of Treasury under the IRS approves for an entity to become such under a 501c5 designation. We at Oasis are a DBA of Firestone Labor Union. Again, federal law states that, and I'm going to read here from the law, that a labor organization includes any organization of any kind, any agency or employee representation committee, group, association, or plan so engaged in which employees participate. So they need to have employee participation and exist for the purpose in whole or in part. And that's I put this underlined also in the video, in whole or in part. Why is that important? Because when the IRS gives an entity such a responsibility to represent employees, to represent them in terms of hours, wages, working conditions, and benefits, we want to be fully engaged with that. However, the precedence of the law says in whole or in part. And there are issues in the whole that involves, first and foremost, employees signing election cards, employers signing a collective bargaining agreement, being able to have grievance forms and grievance procedures. That's the whole part. The in part can also be including things of benefits. Here we are as a labor organization, as a 501c5, as you can see here on the screen, that we've been giving such a designation. And we also offer to our, together with the employer, to our union members, healthcare like Avanto, retirement plans like ALA Trust, and workers' compensation like Affirmative Workers' Compensation Employee Benefit Plan. So very important, in whole or in part. We are in this in whole, and we also are here dealing with employers concerning grievances, labor disputes, wages, rates of pay, hours, or other terms or conditions of employment. So again, this is what federal law says is a labor organization. Wages, hours, working conditions, grievance resolutions, that's what we're all about, and also benefits. So that's a very important part. When a labor organization and an employer together. So this is a couple of very important pieces of law I want us to read together here. 29 U.S. Code 1002. The terms employee welfare benefit plan and welfare plan mean any plan, fund, or program which was heretofore or hereafter established or maintained by an employer or by an employee organization or by both, which we happen to do, to the extent that such a plan, fund, or program was established or is maintained for the purpose of providing for its participants or their beneficiaries, the family members, through the purchase of insurance. So that's one way they can do it. They can get an insurance company and they can purchase insurance. That's one way of doing it. Or otherwise. That's another way of looking at as an alternative. And of course, the alternative to a state mandated run insurance program is a federally preempted one under ERISA provisions. And that's where we come in. We are the otherwise. So it has to do with medical, surgical, hospital care benefits, or benefits in the event of sickness, accident, disability, or death. And of course, those last 4 have to do with workers' compensation, which is something that can happen on the job as a sickness or an accident, disability, and also death, God forbid. So employee benefits established or maintained by both the labor organization and the employer. Well, we are that otherwise. We are that alternative to insurance. We are not insurance. We do not sell insurance to the public. We provide with the employer to our members ERISA-based benefits that the federal law allows us to do so. In fact, we have here on our CBA, under Section 7 of our collective bargaining agreement, employer will pay to the union employer steward fund the total of $99 per year to fund the work of the union's multi-employer steward in assisting in settling member grievances. Again, very important. We have participation with the employer in paying for a union-sponsored, employer-sponsored steward that goes around the companies and making sure that everybody's is getting well along. When there are grievances, we go out there and we want to nip those grievances in the bud. And we're going to get into the details of those grievances and all that CBA here in a moment. But first of all, it's the whole understanding. An employer together with a labor organization together, they provide, they affirm, they establish, maintain this employee welfare benefit plan. That's what makes it different than insurance. That's what makes it the otherwise. So we need to have them together providing to their members, our members, their employees, such plans. And of course, we always want to make sure that we're settling all grievances. That is so important. Of course, hours, wages, working conditions all fall under that. Okay, so let's talk about right now the collective bargaining agreement. Here's a video for you to watch.
Congratulations on recognizing Oasis Labor Association as the exclusive representative of your employees regarding their hours, wages, working conditions, and benefits. This short tutorial will highlight both the articles that compose the collective bargaining agreement and the benefits thereof. First off, you will discover Oasis Labor Association is different. Our common interest is located in the preamble on page 3, where you and us express a shared belief in the free flow of capital and labor. We do not take a portion of your employees' weekly or bi-weekly salary for our membership dues, as membership into our union is only $25 a year, for which our members will obtain, among other things, the Oasis Labor Association membership card, good for discounts on over 300,000 goods and services, everything from vacations and dining to entertainment, electronics, and a lot more. This promotes employee morale, which offers you a readily available and motivated labor pool. Our mission is clear. We exist to replenish the employee-employer relationship and to empower workers to thrive in productive working environments. Simply put, we want to keep your business doors open and our members working with the free flow of capital and labor that will increase your sales, secure their job, and establish better working conditions, which benefits everyone directly. For example, in Article 6, Section 4, so long as they are our members, you will never have to worry about your employees having to strike against, picket, boycott, or perform any work stoppage endeavor against your company for any reason whatsoever. We only ask that you become aware with and follow up with any grievance as per Article 7, as we work in strengthening the employee-employer relationship. First, have the grievance written up within 10 days of the occurrence. We'll send our union steward to visit with the employee's immediate manager to discuss and settle the grievance. If no agreement is reached, then the written grievance is sent to you or your highest supervisor for another meeting in order to settle the grievance. This mediation service may benefit you in that the member may not need to escalate a situation to an agency, and if escalation is necessary, the CBA refers to arbitration as the first remedy instead of a costly lawsuit. Regarding working conditions under Article 4, Oasis Labor Association and their partners offer our multi-employer group free of charge any one of the 600 professionally printed tutorials on employee safety and awareness in English or Spanish. Or for a nominal charge, you can download the very handy mobile app for Cal OSHA or Fed OSHA compliance tutorials. We recognize you're responsible for our members' working environment, and we're glad to assist in promoting professional employee accident prevention training. This benefits you with potentially less on-the-job accidents and ensures our members are in compliance with your company's safety and awareness procedures. Our national #Saving Lives billboard campaign spells out our commitment and importance we give to the CBA. In terms of hours and wages as per Articles 2 and 3, we simply request that you follow the law that, by law, must be posted in your break room or employee lounge. From minimum wages to overtime, and from national holidays off to vacation time, jury duty, sick leave, no discrimination or harassment, or simply getting paid on time. It's all spelled out in the CBA, because a collective bargaining agreement is a promise of the employer to the employee, an important promise we want you and your Human Resources Department to know and keep. Regarding Article 5, Oasis Labor Association and our multi-employer group provide ERISA-based benefits that assist our member employees and their families when it matters the most. From our affirmative workers' compensation coverage that pays a statutory payout requirement per state, plus your employees' annual physicals and immunizations, and a $4,000 funeral expense benefit if the accident or illness occurs while on the job, to our Avanto healthcare benefit that covers your employees' healthcare needs with government-approved plans within a provider's network of more than 5,000 hospitals, 90,000 ancillary facilities, 70,000 pharmacies, and more than 1 million medical professionals across the United States and Puerto Rico. Plus, free 24/7 consultation with a licensed doctor in their state is just a telephone or Skype video conferencing call away. And now you can offer your employees a great retirement plan with our ALA Trust retirement plans, which start as low as $25 per month. This article helps you pay for better benefits at below market rates. Again, our mission is clear. We exist to replenish the employee-employer relation and empower our members to thrive in productive working environments. And this is why your employees have elected us to represent them exclusively regarding their hours, wages, working conditions, and benefits. And this is why, as per Article 1, you are recognizing us today as their exclusive representatives, because we are relevant and because we are good to your free flow of capital and our members' right to work in a great, productive environment. Oasis Labor Association, replenishing the employee-employer relationship.
And welcome back. Very important points here regarding the collective bargaining agreement. Very, very, very important paper. In fact, it's the collective bargaining agreement that makes us as a labor organization, when we file with the Department of Labor, that Form M1, different than, say, for example, a multiple employer welfare arrangement, or a MEWA. We file as an entity claiming exception, ECE. And that exception basically is states do not need to regulate us because of the collective bargaining agreement, which is a promise, as we learned, of the employer to his employees or her employees regarding wages and hours, working conditions, grievance procedures, benefits, and things of that nature. We are federally regulated. And that ECE, that entity, us, claiming exception, says we have the exception of the collective bargaining agreement. And this little piece of paper, or not that little, is what makes a difference. However, as important as the CBA is, there is a very important form before the CBA. And you can download this form here also at oasislaborassociation.org. And that's the membership form. This is what we call the membership form, or the election card, because in this, on the bottom, they actually are able to get into what they're actually going to vote on. We vote that we want this labor organization, Oasis Labor Association, to come in and represent us in terms of hours, wages, working conditions. And so that's a very important point. First and foremost comes Oasis Labor Association membership or election cards. The employees get together and they elect us. After they elect us, obviously, then we present the collective bargaining agreement. We bargain collectively with the employer in terms exactly of what is needed here. Again, very important point in a right to work state, because there is something that is not in our collective bargaining agreement that would be in many others, and that's what they call a security of the union, a union security clause, where it states that the employer has to, within 30 days, make sure that whoever new hires they get, those new employees have to get into the system of getting their monies out every paycheck to sustain or to secure or to give security for the existence of the union. In other words, the union has to charge between 3, 4, 5% of the members' hard-worked weekly or biweekly checks in order to support the union. We don't do that. How does a labor organization in a right-to-work state operate? Well, a labor organization, whether in a unionized state or a right-to-work state, in our case, Oasis, it's the exact same thing. When an employer is coming on board with the understanding that his employees have elected us, they sign that CBA. They are coming knowing that we are not asking the employer to take out of payroll X amount of percentage out of the employees, our members' salary. We don't do that. We don't have union dues or membership dues like others. What we simply do is we are also the providers, together with the employer, of the workers' compensation benefit. And that's how we sustain our nonprofit is through that. We also have healthcare, we also have retirement plans, and we also have non-ERISA-based products such as Pamana, and we'll be talking about Pamana here in a moment, and others. So yes, there is a way of doing this in a way that is non-adversarial. We make sure that according to the collective bargaining agreement, as you saw in the video, so long as they are our members, so long as we have access to be able to settle grievances, there's never going to be any boycotting, there's going to be any picketing or stoppage of work endeavors. We just need to settle grievances, and we just need to nip them in the bud. And also important for the employer to understand that employees that are our members, they're not going to go straight to an attorney. First, we got to settle the grievance. First, we need to fill out that grievance form and follow those steps, and visit with them and visit with their immediate supervisor. And let's nip those grievances in the bud before they become some sort of an expensive lawsuit. And even if they cannot be settled, there's a mediation process where we start first with arbitration. So again, these are important things for stronger employer-employee relations. And that's what we are about ultimately. We're about the employees, making sure that they are employed, that they have a good paying job, good healthy working conditions, and that we keep the doors open. So we're all about the free flow of capital and labor like we saw in the video. We're about making sure that the doors are open because it is the employer that keeps the business running, that keeps the doors open with the help of the employees, because without employees, of course, there's no business. So again, it comes to a relationship. And that's what we're all about here at Oasis, replenishing the employee-employer relationship and making sure that all things are working well. And of course, by providing a great workers' compensation, great health care, great retirement plans, and other non-ERISA-based products and benefits, we're also able to not have to ask for the regular membership due or union due. So again, I thought this was a pretty important point as we understand what is a labor organization and how we at Oasis can operate in a non-unionized or right-to-work state, such as where I'm at right now in the state, grand, beautiful state of Texas. In fact, there are 28 states in the union that do not or are not of the unionizing mentality. They're more of the right to work. There are 22 states that are. So whether it be in California, we can operate the exact same way. Again, we do not charge membership dues when those members are coming in through workers' compensation, affirmative workers' comp benefit. So again, very important points here that we have so that people can make the right choice when it comes to making sure that stronger relationships, doors being kept open, free flow of capital and labor, right to work for our members. All these are things that are very, very foundational, important for us, and also at the most inexpensive rate in North America to be able to provide great workers' compensation, healthcare, retirement plans, and others, again, under ERISA. And so this is very important. Number one, so I put here first, comes, of course, the employee selecting us. Second, of course, then would come the collective bargaining agreement. Think about the difference of a bank with a credit union. That's kind of similar to insurance and ERISA. So a bank is for-profit. Many insurance companies are for-profit. A credit union is non-profit, just like a labor organization is non-profit. So credit union, labor union. 501c1 is a credit union, 501c5 is a labor union. They're both membership-based organizations, like a 501c3, like a church, for example. So let me read this here. An ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plan for the purpose of exclusively providing to its union members and their beneficiaries. One of the main differences between insurance and ERISA-based benefit plans is insurance is sold by insurance companies through insurance agents. They need to have an insurance license to the public. But ERISA is offered, established, and maintained by the employer and the labor organization together under a collective bargaining agreement, and of course protected by ERISA's federal provisions. So very, very important, that difference between a bank and a credit union. Hopefully that will help you see the difference between insurance and what we're doing together with the employer we call ERISA-based benefit plans. And now we're coming under section 4, the last section here of our video series and training. And provided that such workers' compensation benefit is not established and maintained solely to comply with local applicable workers' compensation laws. So pretty important here. That word solely carries a lot of weight to it. In other words, if it's only for that, then ERISA says, I'm sorry, preemption does not apply. But if it's part of a multi-benefit plan menu of other ERISA-based and non-ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plans, such as healthcare, like our Avanto, or retirement plans, like our ALA Trust, and others, if it's part of that menu, then we're good to go. And that's a good thing about affirmative workers' compensation employee benefit plan. We don't have that only as a standalone. It's part of a whole menu. In fact, in the collective bargaining agreement, we present all of our menu benefits so that employers can choose it or others. But it's very important that we understand it's part of a menu. And because it's part of a menu, there's one more item that we need to understand. It needs to be also more robust than whatever is sold out there in insurance land. So out there, of course, we know for the workers' compensation, for example, we have the part 1 that deals with how we cover the employee, our member, and then part 2, what we do with the employer's liability. So that's what's on the certificate. It comes, looks, smells just like an insurance one, but it doesn't say workers' compensation insurance. It's workers' compensation coverage. And it's something that is brought together here from Oasis Labor Association. So we have the exact same in which we take care of the disability rehab benefits until the employee, our member, is able to come back to work. We take care of the medical, such as physician, hospital medications. We take care of the permanent disability benefits. If, God forbid, the fatality does take place, we take care of exactly as the state would in terms of 75% of that employee's monthly salary going to the widow until she remarries, for example, or their kids until they're 18, or if they're in college up to 26. The exact same thing as a state would, we do. But additionally, we cover the employee with an additional $4,000 funeral expense benefit if the accident or illness occurs because of a job-related accident or illness. We also have over 600 employee safety and awareness guides in English and Spanish. We take care of our employee members, their annual physicals. We'll make sure that they take care of themselves. Every annual physical we pay for, and of course that they have their annualized updated immunizations up to date. So again, we have a comparable product as an insurance product would be, but we don't offer it to the public. We simply offer it to members of our labor organization under ERISA. So that makes all the difference, and it's more robust than what's average out there in insurance land. So let's talk about, beside affirmative workers' compensation, what other types of ERISA-based and non-ERISA-based benefits we offer. Right now, we'll take a look at Avanto, and then we'll take a look at PAMANA, funeral expense benefit, and then later ALA Trust. Let's take a look at these videos right now.
It is no secret that people are taking more control over their health these days by choosing to exercise, eat right, and focus on their peace of mind. So it's no surprise they're taking control also of managing their rising healthcare costs. And Avanto Healthcare is uniquely positioned to offer you peace of mind through our affordable, portable, national ERISA-based health benefit plans. Now you too may experience peace of mind knowing you are covered in any of our network's more than 5,000 hospitals, more than 90,000 ancillary facilities, and more than 1 million doctors, specialists, and healthcare professionals across the United States and Puerto Rico. And 24/7 consultation service with a medical professional is just one phone call away. Avanto Healthcare is different than most others offering health coverage and health care. With Avanto, your primary or MEC medical benefit plans are affordable, meaning you will enjoy low monthly contributions, low deductibles, and low out-of-pocket maximums. 100% portable, meaning the plans belong to you and follow you even if you transfer jobs. National, meaning your coverage benefits are the same across state lines. Unlike others, there is no income verification required, and you may enroll at any time. All plans include 24/7 phone consultation with a medical professional when needed. All Avanto plans meet and exceed the standards of the new healthcare laws, which after January 1, 2014, you and your dependents must have in order to avoid a costly tax penalty. Our MEC coverage plans have more than 60 services for males, females, and children, and you will pay nothing for wellness and preventative care. For a brochure on any of our primary or MEC medical health benefit plans or to enroll, contact your certified member associate representative today by calling toll-free 1-844-4-AVANTO or visit us online at avantohealthcare.com. That's why with Avanto, you remain in control of your health with our care. Avanto Healthcare. All for one. You. A little dash is set between two appointed dates. One date celebrates our first breath on this old earth. The second, the day we breathe our last. And in the middle, encompassed in that humble little dash, is life. Our life. Our choices. With our hopes and dreams. Some realized and some not, but always lived next to those we loved and those who challenged us. That humble dash sums our legacy and heritage that lives on memorialized by those who must continue their journey. Pamana is Tagalog for legacy and heritage. A solid understanding that what we leave behind is as important as how we leave it. With Pamana Funeral Expense Benefit, we honor those who pass away by paying for all aspects of their funeral service, exactly as they wished, while easing the decision-making process of those closest to them at a difficult time. It is the responsible thing to do, and a certified Pamana advocate will make the application very easy so anyone can do it in their language. With Pamana, everyone may qualify. There are no medical exams needed, and no health questions will ever be asked, because Pamana is not insurance, but rather a direct benefit that pays for the funeral home, a mortuary transportation company, and other funeral-related entities according to your wishes, your traditions. Choose between any of our three Pamana national plans. Pamana Bronze, that pays a $10,000 funeral expense benefit. Pamana Silver, that pays a $15,000 funeral expense benefit. Or Pamana Gold, that pays a $25,000 funeral expense benefit. Our prices are the lowest in the nation, and our live customer service and certified Pamana advocates will tend to your inquiries with the utmost respect and honor, over the phone or one-on-one. For more information, contact your certified Pamana advocate or visit us online at www.pamana.life. Peace of mind. Your wish is honored. Everything in order. Pamana Funeral Expense Benefit. Your legacy and heritage memorialized.
And great, there you have it. So you can see a little bit about our healthcare, a little bit about our Pamana Funeral Expense Benefit. And as we're finishing off right now, again under Section 4, then that workers' compensation coverage, while not an insurance product offered to the public, becomes a federally protected and rightful employee benefit to the union member. In fact, federal law in these cases preempts any state involvement in the union employer-sponsored offering of such benefit. So, we are Oasis Labor Association. We are a DBA of Firestone Labor Union. We are legally set up as I said earlier, an ECE, an entity claiming exception. And what is the exception? We claim that we are not a MEWA, a multiple employer welfare arrangement entity. Therefore, we are free from any type of state-regulated work that they can do upon this sacred union between employer and employee through the collective bargaining agreement. And that it is established and maintained pursuant to this CBA according to the law, Section 340A1 of ERISA. There is also a very interesting ERISA Section 514A, they call it the preemption clause. and it states here that federal law, quote, shall supersede any and all state laws insofar as they may now or hereafter relate to any employee benefit plan. So again, understanding being able to offer this under the umbrella of the federal protection, federal preemption, and ERISA provisions allows us to move into every single state in the union. So very, very important. Even though we are in Texas with Oasis, we can cover all states because this is a federal program, and it can be a blessing for many, many employees which can become members. And by the way, our association, our membership, our labor organization, we open it to all industries. It's not just people that belong to automobile or nurses or doctors or firemen. It's open to all workers of all types, of all kinds, and we welcome them to be part of this opportunity. Also, this is interesting. There's something called a deemer clause, ERISA section 514B2B, and I quote, an employee benefit plan shall not be deemed to be an insurance company or other insurer in the business of insurance for purposes of any law of any state purporting to regulate insurance. So yes, we have a workers' compensation certificate that's spit out. It is not an insurance document. It is a industry standard form, and we have to have our name on it. But the deemer clause makes it very clear that as we offer employee benefit plans, we will not be confused with an insurance company or to be an insurer. Again, very important when we're talking about self-funded, employee union-sponsored benefit plans. The deemer clause is very clear, and that's why there are so many programs in many states like California with their carve-out program, where they know that an employer with a union will, together with the employer, they'll sponsor this workers' compensation employee benefit because it ultimately is a benefit to the employee, obviously. So they have this carve-out program so that can happen. Even in unionized states like California, that can happen. New Mexico, that can happen. In right-to-work states like Texas and Oklahoma and Arizona, this doesn't have to happen. I know in Texas, for example, it's an opt-out state. I know Oklahoma is soon to be one. Tennessee, it's in the legislative right now body to opt themselves out of having to have workers' compensation. But the reality is this: even in opt-out states, an employer does not want to be found without insurance for workers' comp, that's state, or federal employee benefit ERISA coverage, workers' compensation, that's federal. Because they put their house, they put all their hard-earned cash, they put all their stuff, they put it at risk of lawsuits. Why would they do that? Well, the reason why many would is because they want to save money. And that's why we come in and those employees may be interested in becoming part of our membership organization, of our union, of our labor organization, and after the employer signing the CBA, we'll be able to offer a lot better, first of all, employer-employee relationship coverage, but also 20 to 40% off of whatever workers' compensation insurance is out there. Why? Because Oasis Labor Association is a nonprofit, 501c5. We're tax exempt. We don't pay for a little duck or a salamander or some lady with lipstick to sell insurance out there on TV land and make it so expensive. I mean, really, who's paying for those ads? It's you. It's the people paying for the coverage, for the benefit. We take care of it ourselves, and it's word of mouth, and we keep it. We pinch the pennies. We're nonprofit. Another thing is, if you look at all those high-rise buildings downtown, they all have insurance company names. We pinch the pennies, man. If you come over to corporate, it's nothing out of this world. But at the end of the day, it's all about our members. Again, a very big difference between a client, a customer, and a member. I was once told that a man can have a wife and a girlfriend and not go to jail. He may be dead the next day, and I don't think it's good, but he won't go to jail. But the moment a man has 2 wives, he goes to jail. And that's because of a promise. When you say I do, it's actually like a legal covenant. And what are you saying I do to? You're saying I do that to the fact that all of your interests will be higher than my interest and anybody else's interest. So the same thing applies with a customer and a client. Let's say I'm selling real estate and I have a listing, and this person wants to sell it for $500,000. We sign the listing. He is my client. I am his agent. There's agency involved. The moment that a buyer wants to come over and says, "Hey, Harold, I'd like to buy this person's house. I'll give him $550 for it." That buyer is not my client. That buyer is my customer, and I am not his agent. I am his salesperson, and I have to tell, for the benefit of my client, that he's willing to buy it for $550. So very important the difference between a customer and a client. How much more important the difference between all that and the member. Try hitting your pinky. Try stabbing your hand or stubbing your toe. The whole body feels it. And that's how we take care of our members. We're all about membership. We're all about taking care of our members as if they were part of one body. Kind of like a church, kind of like a credit union, kind of like a labor organization. That's what we are. So again, very important that we understand how it is that we work together, and there's one big family. Again, now we're finishing up here. So at the beginning, I told you what I was going to tell you through the short video. Then after, with the video, I told you what I was telling you. And now to finish, I'm going to tell you what I told you. And if you want to read here with me as well, when a labor organization and employer together, point 1, I think that's clear, pursuant to a CBA, establish, offer, and maintain. We talked about the collective bargaining agreement. I think it's very important as well. We'll have a whole training on the CBA at another time, but for right now, the video kind of spells out everything pretty clear. When they offer and maintain an ERISA-based employee welfare benefit plan, not insurance, we're the otherwise, for the purpose of exclusively providing to its union members, not to the public, but to our members and their beneficiaries, such benefits as health care for medical, surgical, hospital care, benefits in the event of sickness, accidents, on or off the job, as in the case of workers' compensation. And, part 4, provided that workers' comp benefit plan is not provided only and established solely for the purpose of complying with applicable workers' compensation laws, but rather jointly offered with the employer as a more robust coverage. We have to be more robust. But, number 2, and more robust coverage as part of a multi-benefit menu plan. Then that workers' comp coverage is not as insurance to the public, but rather it becomes a federally protected and rightful employee benefit to our member. And in fact, federal law preempts state law in terms of anything the union-sponsored, employer-sponsored offering of that benefit can bring. So again, friends, I hope that this was clear. I hope that this compliance video was able to elucidate any type of doubts that you may have had or any questions you may have had. Feel free to get a hold of me, Harold at oasislaborassociation.org. Would love to be able to entertain any of the questions you may have. And thank you so much for these minutes together that we can spend learning about Oasis Labor Association, affirmative workers' compensation, what is a labor organization, how we as Oasis work and have the right to work in a right to work state. Very important points. Difference between ERISA-based benefits and insurance. I think those points were made pretty clear, and we're here to help. At the end of the day, we're here to do things right, and we're here to grow our membership base, to offer excellent benefits to them, great grievance settling procedures in terms of hours, wages, working conditions, things of that nature. And at the end of the day, we're here to strengthen and replenish the employee-employer relationship. On behalf of everyone here working at Oasis Labor Association, I'm Harold Zapata, your president. Thank you for watching this presentation, and we look forward to the next webinar together. God bless.